proposition. To continue the case for proposition, I call upon Heather Mills to deliver her remark.
I never plan my speeches for reasons like that or any lectures, because I'm interested in the opinions of the students and where your heads are at and what you believe, idealism versus realism. Having lived the vegan lifestyle for 28 years, lost my leg crossing the street, police motorcycle chopped it off after returning from the war in the former Yugoslavia. Geordie, sausage, meat and veg, if we were lucky, on a Saturday from Dewhurst Butchers. So when I was approached to heal after 5 months in hospital, crushed pelvis, punctured lung, amputated leg, infection going up and up the leg, my girlfriend said, go vegan. And I was like, vegan, schmegan, what on earth is that? And she said, you're going to be in here for months if you don't get out. And unfortunately I was. Eventually I listened to her, because until you're actually ill or care about the environment or the animals, you're never going to be interested in veganism. At that time in the 90s, this was 93. So she dragged me off to a place called Hippocrates in West Palm Beach within 2 weeks of being put on disgusting wheatgrass and raw juicing and raw vegetables, which I'd hardly even experienced in my whole life in Newcastle. I was healed and I was convinced. And I came back to England, wrote books about it, stayed raw vegan, which I don't recommend in cold Newcastle, for about 2 years. And discovered that I was absolutely healed. But I missed going to the restaurants with friends, I missed cooked food, I missed burgers, I missed pizzas. And I realized that actually I became quite evangelical about animal issues, and we all have to acknowledge what's been said earlier. Animals are abused, we are in a factory farm world. We can go on about the small areas in the world that rely on meat consumption. I worked out in the Arctic for a long time with the Inuits. Getting access to vegetables was near on impossible, but we created a lot of alternates, and they mainly stuck to fish and stopped killing the narwhals and the polar bears, talking to them about, you know, the chances of extinction with these animals. So it's about creating and problem solving, and that's where I realized my specialist area would become, was getting in the minds, instead of being the opposition when I was younger, but getting in the minds of the people that live with the tunnel vision of going vegan is for the smelly 1960s hippies that don't shave their armpits or their legs. So I basically decided we need to make veganism sexy and hip and cool and functional, and I did vegan shoes, vegan clothes, vegan oat milk, got soy milk into Starbucks in the 90s, just created solutions. But ultimately, we live in a financial world. We live in a greedy world. We've destroyed, my generation, I'm 53 now, we've destroyed, you know, the planet for you guys. You are the last hope to actually turn things around if we're lucky enough to do it. But we're all human and we all crave a burger. Unless you're really purist, as I was when I was sick, you want to mix with your friends, you want to go in a restaurant. So I decided to just focus and go underground, go quiet, create a company called VBites. Made the Beyond Meat burger, made a million things for Burger King, for McDonald's, for everything. Meat replacements, obviously saving 600 gallons of water per meat replacement over a burger. Do your analysis, work out what it is. We've only got 8 to 10 minutes, but the fact is there is a meat, fish or dairy alternate for everybody who can't get off their addiction. Dairy is an opiate. We did a test on 4,000 kids in the Bronx. We started them converting from McDonald's. They got $1 a day. Most of their parents were heroin addicts. We got them on vegan burgers. That's what they could relate to. They didn't know they were vegan burgers. We then did blood tests. I worked with Professor Colin Campbell. If you haven't read the China study, please do. And we did a lot of analysis, blood tests, reversed type 2 diabetes within 3 months, brought down to 2 insulin injections a day, type 1 diabetes. then did analysis that a small percentage, and this is me speaking very openly on the realism of veganism, a short and small percentage of people couldn't convert from flax and linseed, a short-chain fatty acid, to a long-chain fatty acid. Well, of course, I didn't want to be responsible for someone having omega deficiencies. So I created an algal oil over 10 years with the highest level docosahexaenoic acid and icosapentaenoic acid, which worked on brain function, synovial fluid, and amazingly, very educated people like yourselves thought that omega-3 came from fish. And when they finally realized that it comes from the algae the fish eat and sits in the cell of the fish, they thought, why are we killing billions of fish to squeeze them into fish oil capsules? Isn't that a bit nonsensical? So I said, well, they're only doing it because they don't know how to make it from a vegan alternate. And there are only actually 3 companies in the world that can do it. You can get seaweed all over the place. You might get 20 milligrams, 50 milligrams, 100 if you're lucky, of DHA. So what's the solution? The solution is every time you make a choice, we've now got vegan cheese in Zizi, we've got vegan burgers in Burger King, we've got fish steaks made of konjac in all the Green King pubs. We have worked tirelessly, and I say we because it takes a group of like-minded people to make a difference. One person to shout a lot and take the abuse, and the rest to get on with the real work. And so all the alternates are there for you. If you hate soya milk, which I can't stand, go and have oat milk. Go and have almond milk if you're not nut allergic. Go and try 25 different milks till you find a milk that's actually going to benefit your health, the animals, the planet, and the environment. Don't just stop on the first time you try one and want to throw up because it's not got the antibiotics and the putrefied pus in it from the cow's milk. Really do your studies and work out what's going to make the difference. So are we talking about moving beyond meat? Yes, we are. Are we talking about whether it's going to affect your health? Yes, we are. And when we go into issues about digestive issues, we did studies on the metabolism that when you take a kid from McDonald's to vegan McDonald's, that's not where you want to leave them. We then grew on the top of all the rooftops in the Bronx vegetables and lentils and beans and all sorts of things for them to eat. Now, certain people can't break down cellulose. They have problems with gliadin, lectins. That's a small percentage of people that need very prescriptive meals that have ruined their hydrochloric acid levels, their digestive enzyme levels, because of years and years of meat consumption from a young age that will putrefy in your colon, create acid reflux. The reason we have huge sales of PPIs and Gaviscon is because of that overconsumption of meat. There are, when you're born, we all are born, if we're lucky to have been breastfed for starters, we're born with antibodies that are created with microbes and the gut-brain axis, all our serotonin's there and all those things. But I do know people that have had so many things happen with their digestive system. I had Lyme's disease. I had my appendix taken out, my gallbladder. I was told I couldn't eat vegetables again. As a vegan, that was absolutely bloody impossible. But I was determined to work out a way. So I started a FODMAP, which most of you with digestive issues will know about. I worked out whether I was sensitive to sorbitols, oligolactosaccharides, polyols. But what I'm trying to say is, for the sake of the great picture, we've talked about certain people that can only eat products because there's no vegetables. That's not what's ruining the planet. A few small people doing things for their individual needs is not the mass majority. That's not what contributes to intensive farming, global warming, cruelty to animals. It's minuscule, right? And everyone has the individual requirement, if it's life or death or ill health, to do that. But that's absolutely microscopic. It's like we make meat-free, fish and dairy-free at VBites for the mass population who do not have the willpower or the care or anything initially, or if they do, they don't want to connect the fact that the meat that they're eating is actually the same as the baby lamb they were just stroking in the field the day before. That's the big problem, and that's the shit that's going on with Glasgow at the moment. You've got Boris Joe Johnson up there talking about the climate change. And he's not even talking about the fact that the biggest cause of global warming is the consumption of meat and dairy. That's just insane. He's going around on his bicycle, which is lovely, and talking about electric cars, which is 13%. But why are they not talking about the real issues? That's the problem. And he shouldn't be charging taxes on things that are bringing health to the nation. All the funding, I own big factories in the northeast to bail out all the Brexit bollocks, where everyone went, oh, great, I've got 453 people that work with me, all voted for Brexit. And now they've gone, why did we do that? We thought we'd get better jobs. And I said, no, the factories are closed down and they've all buggered off to Europe because all the grants the government gave to fund have not gone back to the community. So the government needs to change, or Boris needs to get a proper advisor that tells him if he's an environmentalist and ethical, he will encourage tax-free incentives for people to do plant-based options. The last thing that I want to say is problem solving. Everything in life is about problem solving and showing that money can be made from it. So we contacted the dairy companies, replicated all of their cheeses, the Applewood smoky paprika that you see, the Mexicana, the blue cheese. We replicated all of those. That's 20% of sales now. So that shows where the dairy industry is having to move, and they are all going plant-based. We did it with Greggs, we did it with all of them. Plant-based is where it's going. And you can make an EBITDA of 17%, whereas at the moment, 1.3 billion is spent on subsidising farmers, and it's been removed from Norseland and Norway already, and that's where it's going to go. Are the farmers going to suffer? No, because we've been training the farmers to grow on arable land, alternate ingredients like oat and things, where they actually make money, and you think you're getting cheap milk, but it's coming out your pocket as a taxpayer from another area. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.